Hi, Tara Salee, Hy-Vee dietitian, here today to talk to you about my 5 top tips to bust stress. This can be an extremely stressful and busy time of year for a lot of us with the end of school, lots of activities going on, but we do not want to lose sight of our health goals, and there are some easy ways to stay on track and to not let this stress affect your health and your waistline. So I'm going to go through some of those top tips, and then I'm also going to be making 2 different recipes today. The first one is berry baked oatmeal, and then also a cauliflower fried rice with shrimp. So to start off with, I'm going to go through my very first tip for busting stress. So the first thing I want you to really focus on is your hydration. Water is an extremely important part of our body. Over 60% of our body is made up of water, and when we're hydrated, we handle stress better. So I want you to think about, are you drinking enough throughout the day? So for women, this is typically going to be about 9 cups of water a day, or close to 72 ounces. And for men, it's going to be around 13 cups of water per day. Water is essential for pretty much every bodily function we have. So if we are staying hydrated, we are going to handle stress better. Not to mention, we have summer right around the corner. So if you are very active or if you're outside a lot, I would probably bump this up even a little bit more. Something that can be helpful if you're nowhere close to hitting these goals right now would be to start with water in the morning. So before you have your coffee, before you have your tea or soda or anything else you might have to drink in the morning, we need to drink water first. We lose about 1 liter of water through the night. So if we start our day with water, we are going to rehydrate before we attack that day. So what I like to do is keep a bottle of water, usually 8 to 16 ounces, in my bedroom. So as soon as I get up, I start working on that water. So by the time I'm ready for breakfast or coffee, that's already done and out of the way, and I'm well on my way to that 72 ounces-ish per day. So that's tip number 1. Tip number 2 is we need to keep our blood sugar balanced. Stress is something that we all know can affect our eating patterns. Some of us eat more when we're stressed, and some of us just forget to eat at all due to stress. Either way, it makes our decision making usually decline in terms of what foods we choose. We can crave more sugar. We can, be more inclined to have snacky type of foods. So it's really important to focus on having balanced meals. This is important all the time, but especially during those times of stress. Stress can cause cortisol levels in our body to actually increase. This is a stress hormone, but it also is a fat storage hormone. So as cortisol increases, typically our waistline will expand unless we're doing something preventative. So balanced meals are going to be key. And that brings us to our first recipe here, which is our baked berry oatmeal. This is something that you can make ahead of time so you have ready to go as a quick and easy breakfast option. So I'm going to take you through how to make that. Because this is baked, you want to go ahead and get your oven preheated to 350. So when we're ready to, when we finish it up, we can get it right in the oven. So what you're going to need for this is you will need some fresh berries. You need a really ripe banana. So think about, like banana bread type of banana. So something that's ripe, or even one that you pull out of your freezer. You'll need some milk or a milk alternative. I, again, opted for this Fairlife milk. Because it is cow's milk, it's lower in carbohydrate, but you're still getting the protein there. Some maple syrup, you need avocado, we're going to use just a dash of salt. Some peanut butter or almond butter would work. Chia seeds, flax seeds, baking powder, some vanilla, unsweetened coconut, and then some Quaker oats. So I'm going to open that. So what we're going to start with here is we need a large bowl, and we are going to actually mash our banana right into this bowl. Now, it's having a ripe banana can be helpful because it will be sweeter and it also will mash better. So I'm going to go ahead and get this mashed up. This is also a nice baking tip to use banana in place of oil in recipes as well. It adds that moisture. You could also use applesauce. So if you're not a fan of banana and you want to use some unsweetened applesauce, you could use that in place of the banana in this recipe as well. Okay, so that is ready to go. So next we are going to add the peanut butter and maple syrup and milk. So maple syrup, I got 100% pure maple syrup. You could use another sweetener, like local honey if you wanted to. we need half a cup of maple syrup here. So this is going to be our sweetener in this recipe. There we go. And so that goes right into our bowl. All right. Okay, so now we're going to add our milk, which we need 3/4 cup of the milk. Again, you can use like an almond milk or a coconut milk if you prefer to do that. And that would work just fine as well. I do like using the cow's milk because again, we get that extra boost of protein. And when you are making this, I would really encourage you to also pair this breakfast with just, half a cup of Greek yogurt on top for that extra protein, because protein is going to help create that balanced meal for us. Okay, so next we're going to add our vanilla. You just need a teaspoon of vanilla to get it opened here. Anytime we're using vanilla, that kind of adds a little bit of sweetness. It pulls out that sweet flavor without adding any extra sugar. And now we're going to add peanut butter. So this is one of my new favorite peanut butters. This is called Crazy Richard's. It's 100% peanuts. There's nothing else in here. So I brought up to you guys before the Smucker's peanut butter that you can find just in the main aisles. And I do also really like that one, but this one has no salt. So if that's something you're watching as well, that's a benefit of the Crazy Richard's. And you're going to find this one in the health market. Now I've already given this a stir. But when I store this, I'll probably just store it upside down so I don't have to re-stir it every single time. Okay, so here we have half a cup, and that goes into here as well. This is also adding some of that protein we were talking about. Okay, put this over here. All right, so we have our peanut butter in there, maple syrup, we've done our milk, vanilla. We're gonna do just a crack of salt. From there, we're going to blend this up. So, okay, so we're gonna give this a little bit of a whisk, and then we're gonna add all of our dry ingredients. You can kind of be a little bit creative about what fruits you want to add to this. So if you have some kind of family favorites that you know everyone would enjoy, you can swap out the fruits for whatever you guys like best. Okay. All right, so from there, we are going to add our oats, which we need 3 cups of oats. So these are actually the Quaker Quick Oats. Actually pour these. So 1, 2, pour a few back there. Got a little out of control there. Okay, and 3 cups of oats. From there, we need to add our avocado oil. So this is a heart-healthy oil. Our avocado oil is loaded with those monounsaturated fats that are really good for our heart. As well as these are going to help our HDL numbers also, which is fantastic. So we need a 1/4 cup of our avocado oil. So I'm just going to use this here. This is something that you could also use just if you're roasting vegetables in place of olive oil. Its smoke point is just a little bit higher, which is very nice. You could also grill with it. All right. So next up, we need to add our chia seed as well as our flax seed. So with our chia seed, we're going to do a 1/4 cup of this, as well as a 1/4 cup of our flax seed. So these again are those plant-based omegas. The chia seeds have no flavor whatsoever, but you're going to get an extra boost of fiber, which can help lower our cholesterol. And again, they're heart healthy. Then we're going to use our milled flaxseed here. And with the milled flaxseed, this is going to have a slightly nutty flavor, but again, don't really notice it once it's baked into things. I'll also add this a lot of times, like if I'm making pancakes or something like that, and that works well also. Now we're gonna add our baking powder. We just need 1 teaspoon of this. Okay. And we're gonna add half of our coconut. So total, we're gonna need 3/4 of a cup of coconut. And we're just gonna add half of that, and then we're gonna sprinkle the rest on top. Grab some scissors. This is unsweetened, so be sure you grab the unsweetened coconut. We don't want all the added sugar in our coconut. If you're not sure, if it doesn't tell you on the front, you can always look at the back of that ingredient label to make sure that you're not getting additional added sugar in that. So I'm gonna go ahead and fill 3/4 of a cup, and then I'm just gonna pour about half of it in and save the other half for the top. This is another one of those things, if you have food allergies or you're just not really a fan of coconut, then you can leave that out. I would add probably just a few more oats in place of it. So we are going to blend all of this, kind of fold it all together without the berries in. We don't want to mash those berries into this until the very last minute to kind of keep those a little bit more intact. Okay, so this is pretty well combined. So from here, we're going to add raspberries and blueberries. You're gonna need half a cup of both. So we're adding 1 cup of fruit here. I'm just gonna eyeball this. I really like a lot of berries, so I might add a few extra. You can save a few for the top as well. And then we're gonna do our blueberries. And we'll sprinkle a few on the top here at the end. Okay. So now we're gonna fold it. So you don't want to stir these. You don't want to like squash all the berries. We're just going to kind of combine it and mix it in by spooning the mixture over the top of them. All right, so now we're pretty well combined. Okay, so next thing is we need a baking dish that has been sprayed, which I have right here. We're going to use a 9x13. If you wanted to make a 8x8, you could also do that, but you would have to adjust your bake time. I've already sprayed this, so I'm gonna go ahead and just pour this into the 9x13, and then we're going to press it into the bottom of the pan. This is also something that's really easy to make, like if you're having like company or like a really busy weekend ahead, because you can bake it ahead of time and then just warm it right before you eat it. So now I'm just pressing this down right in the bottom. You could also take parchment paper or saran wrap and push it down with your hand, or even put your hand in like a sandwich bag or something to press it. Do be sure that you spray the bottom of your pan because it just makes it so much easier to come out. Okay, so here we have our dish here. So I'm going to take that little bit of leftover coconut and just kind of sprinkle it on top. And then same thing with some of your berries. Just to make it prettier for serving. You can take a few more of those blueberries or raspberries and sprinkle those on top as well. And then there we have it. So this is our baked oatmeal. This is ready to go in the oven. So what I'll do is I will go ahead and put this in the oven. It has to bake for 40 to 45 minutes. So I'm gonna go ahead and let this start cooking, get this cleaned up, and then we'll circle back with our 3 other tips as well as our next recipe. My next tip to bust stress is to get those 7 hours. 7 hours of sleep. So this is just as important as what we're eating and exercise. We also have to focus on rest. So if you're not getting 7 hours of sleep, that's really the magic number for most people. If you find that stress is affecting your sleep, then I would suggest getting in the same evening routine every single night, which starts about 30 minutes before you hope to go to bed. So whether it be shutting off all screens, getting off of tablets and phones, or the same type of routine to get you ready for bed will help you to de-stress and then hopefully go to sleep a little bit easier. Next up, tip number 4 is we have to move. So one of the best ways to combat stress is to actually move our bodies. We want to try to get in 150 minutes every single week of exercise. So this kind of breaks down to about 20 to 30 minutes 5 days a week. This would be the goal. We don't want to spend one day working out for 150 minutes. It's going to be a lot better for our health to do something every single day. Now, the other great thing about exercise is when we exercise, our body releases endorphins. That is the #1 best way to combat cortisol, which we talked about earlier. Those endorphins squash cortisol, that fat storage stress hormone. So that helps tremendously also in reducing anxiety. Also, we sleep better and it helps us be healthier. Last up, my last tip for combating and busting stress is going to be to eat a plant. Our bodies are healthier when we're eating plants. So to maximize the health of our body, which will help us deal with stress better, we need to incorporate plants in our diet. We're headed into gardening season, so this is a win-win. Planting some porch vegetables, or if you have a garden that you can plant your vegetables in, this is going to increase the likelihood that you incorporate veggies into your diet. This next recipe, cauliflower shrimp fried rice, is a very easy recipe to make that incorporates several different vegetables. So I'm going to take you through that now. So for this recipe, what we're going to need is 4 large eggs. We're going to need some peas. This is pre-cooked deveined shrimp. Broccoli, which I actually got the shortcut so I didn't have to cut it all up. You're going to need some coconut aminos. This is a gluten-free soy sauce. You could also use a light or low sodium soy sauce. The benefit of using coconut aminos is it's also low sodium. You're going to need some avocado oil as well as riced cauliflower. We're going to need 6 cups of this, so you're going to need to get the great big bag, or you could also get a head of cauliflower. So to make this recipe, what you need to do is start out by measuring 6 cups of riced cauliflower into a large skillet or a wok. I don't have a wok, so I just used a large skillet, and what I did was I put the 6 cups in there and I just stirred it around until all the moisture was gone. That takes about 8 to 10 minutes. So I've already done that for us just to speed up this process a little bit. The next thing we're going to do is add 2 to 4 tablespoons of our avocado oil to our pan. Let that heat up a little bit, and now we're going to cook our broccoli and our peas. So we need a cup of both, and you can also be creative with other veggies that you may like. So I'm going to go ahead and put the broccoli in here, and actually I'm just going to add more because we all need more vegetables. So there we go with our broccoli. Next up, we will add our peas. The other thing, just as I was getting all of this out, that I thought sounded good would be to also do like shelled edamame. If you wanted to make this meatless, that would be a really easy way to get like a plant-based protein into this dish. You could also do like sugar snap peas. But we'll just do the green peas for today. All right, so we're gonna cook all of that in here for a few minutes. And to be honest with you, I mean, I'm gonna add more broccoli. I'm gonna tear this a little bit so it's easier to eat when it's done, so it's a little bit smaller bites. The shortcuts make this go a lot faster. Okay, so that'll all cook down. We'll let that go for a minute. While that is cooking, we're going to get the eggs ready over here. So we need 4 large eggs. And then 4. give these a little bit of a whisk. And then we're gonna actually stir these in the pan. We will also add now a quarter cup of our coconut aminos. This is again gluten-free, so if you have a family member who can't tolerate gluten, this is a great option for them. This also adds a ton of flavor, and you can kind of do more to taste. So I'm going to go ahead and measure this in. The flavor is almost identical to, again, light soy sauce. All right, so we're going to give that a stir. This is going to take about, I would say, 5 minutes on high to get all of this kind of cooked down a little bit. If you wanted to speed up this process, the other thing you could do is steam your broccoli before you stick it in that pan, or if you're using frozen broccoli, that would be something else that would make this go a lot faster. Something I love that Hy-Vee has is it's the Asian stir-fry vegetables. It's like broccoli, there's some sugar snap peas, green beans. It's just a great blend. Oh, asparagus spears. And that would be something that if you just wanted to grab that bag of frozen vegetables and sub it in place of the peas and the broccoli in this recipe, it would make the prep on this so very simple. Next up, these are already cooked. So these shrimp, actually, you just have to heat through. So they do not need to be in the pan for very long at all, because you don't want to overcook shrimp because they get pretty tough. All right, so this is looking really good over here. I know it's kind of hard for you guys to see, but I'm going to scooch the vegetables now to the very side of the pan. I still have the heat on high. So from there, I'm going to actually pour in the eggs right into the center of the pan, and then we're going to kind of mix those up and stir those so they scramble. This is the fried rice part. This is a faux fried rice because we are going to be using the rice cauliflower that we already have ready to go. Because we cooked all the moisture out of that rice cauliflower, it's going to be so very easy. I'm going to whip this up right in the middle, so the eggs are kind of like looking scrambled at this point. So it's going to be something that you could meal prep at this point. If you were to steam this in the microwave, you would need to set it in a colander before you made this dish, because otherwise it would get kind of like a little more moisture than we were looking for. All right, so this egg is just about cooked. All right, then from here, we are going to add back in that rice cauliflower that has already been cooked in the skillet. And we're going to toss that all together. It's smelling really good. This is a great option, a meal option for balancing that blood sugar as well, because it's so very high in fiber. And then we also have a great source of protein with the shrimp. You could sub out that shrimp for chicken if you wanted to. I'm just mixing all of this together now. And then what we'll do is we will actually add our shrimp. So, how much shrimp do we need here? We need 1 pound of shrimp. This is 1 pound. So I'm going to add all of this in. And then we're going to let that warm in here as well. And kind of stir that in. Again, that shrimp does not need to be cooked. It just needs to be warmed up. All right. Now this is when, you know, you can try it and see to your taste, like if it needs a little bit more of the coconut aminos, you could certainly add that at this point. And then to top it, all you would need to do is top it with some sesame seeds as the garnish, and you are ready to go. You have not only, I mean, I'm going to kind of tilt this up so maybe you guys can see it over there, but it makes quite a bit. So not only would you probably have dinner, but you would also have something you can meal prep for lunch the next day. Now the other thing I wanted to show you right before we finished up is the baked oatmeal as it's coming out here. So this is the baked oatmeal when it is finished. Again, to serve this, all you would need to do is cut this into squares, and then I would suggest pairing this with a Greek yogurt. That's going to be a fantastic way to get just a little bit extra protein in there, which will also help stick with you just a little bit longer. So last tip, again, get those plants in your diet. To kind of review what we covered so far, you want to move, you want to get good rest, you definitely want to get those plants into your diet, as well as balancing your blood sugar and focusing on hydration. Those are my 5 top tips for busting stress through this busy time of year. So I hope you picked up some new tips today, some new recipes you might want to give a try. I did want to show you this right before we finish up, so I'm going to grab a bowl easier. I'm going to grab a bowl so you can kind of see what this looks like as it's done. The sprinkle of the sesame seeds. So here we have the cauliflower, shrimp fried rice as 2 quick and easy meal options that are going to also be those quick and easy things that you can make for breakfast or dinner that will also bust stress. Again, if you need anything else, certainly reach out. Your Hy-Vee dietitians are here to make your lives easier, healthier, and happier. Have a great day.